Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So for today's video I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Full Fantasy eyeshadow palette and a face palette. So if you want to hear my thoughts on these two babies, then please stick around for today's video and make sure you are subscribed to my channel. So first I'm going to pop up pictures of the palettes and swatches. So the eyeshadow palette, this retails for $48 and it is so pretty. I absolutely love how they included the sun. I love how they just you could just look at this palette and you can definitely see how both brands came together. And the blush palette retails for $35, and this was honestly what I was most excited about, was the face palette. I think it looks so pretty and I love the pink aesthetic of it. I cannot wait to dive into it. So with you seeing the swatches, I have not swatched it yet. I know you've seen them, so I'm just super excited to get in here, feel them, and let you know what I think about the formulation. So let me zoom you in. If you are familiar with my channel, I clearly got my hair cut and I'm loving it. It feels so nice. Before we jump into the eyeshadow palette and blush palette, I wanted to do like a little comparison in case you're curious. So this is the, what is this, the Nude Prism palette, and then this is the new one. I just kind of wanted to show them up close and personal just so you can kind of see the difference between them, because at first I was like, oh, they look identical, and then whenever I got them in person I was like, oh, okay, I see the differences now. So I would say that the Nude Prism is definitely more pinky leaning, more neutral, more icy in a way. So those are the difference. This new one definitely has some fun pops of the purple with the olive tones in here. So yeah, I preferred this one. I gave this one to my daughter. There's nothing wrong with this formula. It's great. I love the palette. It's just, I have so many palettes and she really wanted it because it's a perfect palette for her, you know. And also like the aesthetic of the palette, she thought it was beautiful. And I also wanted to pull my Nearly Natural palette from Glaminatrix because I saw someone do a comparison with this and I was like, holy moly, I just duped myself. Like, is this the same palette? So let me just show you. Wow. Okay, I think I duped myself. Let's see. Obviously Lunar Beauty is definitely larger, but I can definitely see some I just messed my palette up. No. Oh well. So if you have the Nearly Natural palette, honestly, I think you can save your money and not get this one. I just got it because I really enjoy full coverage podcasts and all that. The main difference, as just like looking at it, it's this duochrome, the little duochrome right here. It's like the blue to purple. It's got a purple base with a blue shift. Honestly, between these two, that's the only difference that I can spot. This one has a little bit more gold tone leaning. So I just wanted to show you those. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with the face palette first, and then we'll jump into the eyeshadow palette. But I did want to do those two comparisons for you. So if I did not like full coverage like Laura Lee and Manny MUA, then I probably wouldn't have bought the palette. But because I had Nearly Natural, but I do enjoy them, so that's why I got the palette. Now let's pop into the face palette right here. So you've got blushes and two highlighters, and they said that like you could also use this kind of like a bronzer in a way. I don't know if it's gonna work for me, but we might try it. I'm not too sure. I cannot wait to feel this texture. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this one is like more of like Laura Lee's side, and then the face palette was like Lunar Beauty production. Is that, or they like come together? I don't know. I was confused about that because I've always wanted to try out Laura Lee Los Angeles, and her blush palettes are always hyped up. So I'm curious to see if like this is her formula or if this is Manny's formula, you know what I'm saying? Because Manny's is more soft buildable, so I'm curious to see how this one is. So first I'm going to dive into Sandbar, which is more of like that bronzy tone. I'm super excited to try this because it's not like I have a blush this shade, and honestly right off the bat, the new Dior blushes, like they have a pink one, a berry one, a more like the rosewood, which is more neutral pinky leaning with a little bit of peach tones, and then like that mahogany deep dark brown. I'm like, these are like the Dior blushes right here. That's what I was thinking, so I'm excited to try it. Literally no powder kick up, so that's pretty interesting. This is the brown one. I'm kind of nervous. I went in pretty like a lot. Okay. It's not too pigmented at all. I thought I saw one of them saying it was a lot, like really pigmented, but I was seriously like really going in ham with that bronzer. Okay, so I could definitely use this more of like a blush bronzer in a way, so I'm excited about that. Depending on your skin tone, it's gonna see how you're gonna want to use it the most. So let me just blend that in. Yeah, I think that honestly blended out really pretty. It looks, I don't know, it's like brown, but it has a hint of a pink undertone. So I do enjoy the shade Sandbar. Now I want to go with the shade Pink Blossom because it's like super trendy, bright pink. And I want to see what that's about. I'm excited. I don't have a pink like this in my collection. This one, you have to build it up a little. Very beautiful. I'm loving this formula. I don't like a blush where if you tap it in, it's so pigmented, you're just like, crap, what am I supposed to do now? Now I got clown cheeks. So this is a formula I can get down with. Now I'm going to go with the shade Peachy Keen. I'm a sucker for a peachy blush. So this one's probably going to be my most used. But honestly, as far as blush palettes go, I mix them all together because that's what a blush palette is for, in my opinion. Like for me, day to day, if I'm reaching in for a blush palette, it's because I want to mix and match and just have fun with it. So that peachy one, it's really pretty. I'm liking that tone. I like this formula. You know, I don't know. I can't attest like how long it lasts because this is a first impressions. But as far as pigmentation goes and blendability, I'm liking it. Now, I typically don't go in with shades like this rosy berry tone. But for the sake of the video, you know I'm going to do it. And okay, this one looks pigmented. Let me just tap that off. I don't want to look bruised, you know, because those shades tend to look a little bruisey on me. I just want to try them all out for you. So yes, for like fair to light medium skin tone, that one is like super pigmented, so be careful how much you go in. So I don't even know. Here's my beauty blender. I'm just gonna like kind of pat in before we go with the highlighter. So I used all four of like the blushes, and technically I could use this one as a bronzer. I love them. I think that the formula is really nice. I don't like, you don't get powder kick up. It's not too pigmented. It's just beautiful. Now I'm ready to go with the highlighter. So I was so curious on like the texture of it because I didn't hear in any reviews like what the texture was. So they're just powder. They're a nice powder formula. They're soft. I was curious to see if like they're creamy, squishy, any of that. It's just a powder. Very reflective. So you have more of a gold and then a rose gold. Very wearable shades, blinding. I cannot wait to try them out. I always forget to wear highlighter. So if it's in a cheek palette, face palette, I tend to use them more. So on this side, I'm going to go in with Nude Champagne, which is more of like that rose gold. And just kind of see. It looks like they lighten up on the face a little. I was nervous that this one would be too deep for me. I'm going to go in with Gold Fantasy over here. Okay. Good. Whoa. Gold Fantasy is blinding. I'm going to add a little bit more of the gold over here just to kind of even them out. But it's very, very pigmented and like reflective. And then here's like the rose gold shade. Really nice. I'm just going to mix them together now and just use it on my nose just a little bit. And now we can get into the eyeshadow palette. Okay, it's so beautiful. If you are a neutral makeup lover, if you love those everyday browns, and you know you like greens and purples, so this is going to be like your perfect palette. If you want a little bit of fun, you already know I'm going in with that green. That olive green, yes, baby, you already know. It's okay, because you know, if you're familiar with my channel, you knew when you clicked on this video what shade I was going to go into. I'm going to go in with the shade Cloudy and set my concealer on my eyes. And, okay, so we don't have any creasing. It's just a really soft matte white. Or not even, it's like an ivory. It's not too pigmented. It's nice. Now I want to go in with the shade Besties, and it's more of like a soft, everyday, pinky, brown crease shade. And put that, ooh, that's more pigmented than I thought. That's a nice surprise. Okay. I do love Lunar Beauty's eyeshadow formula, so I was obviously assuming that I would love this one as well. Blends out in seconds. Really, really nice so far. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go down the row. I want to go in with the shade We're Back. Let me know if y'all watch full coverage, like the podcast. I'm sure you do if you're watching this video. I was initially going to skip on the eyeshadow palette because I really just wanted the face palette, but just that collector in me, I had to have it. And this is limited edition, but they did say that they were going to, like, they have enough stock for a few months, so I like that they they did make enough to where they wouldn't run out like within the first launch. But I am glad that I did pick up this palette. Just like, I don't know, I had to. I watch full coverage every Friday, and I've loved Laura and Manny for so long. I watched Laura. I think she was like the first YouTuber that I'll ever watch. So, I don't know. Fun fact there. Okay, those are pulling more cool tone on me. Didn't expect that, but very pretty. Now I want to go in with the more like, I'm just trying them all out. I want to go in with Not My Vibe. This one looks more of like a warmer tone brown. Just see what that one's about. Just kind of warm it up. And then I'm going to go in with that green. Woo! She's pigmented. Okay. I'm going to use that on both sides. Okay, now I want to go in with the shade at Trivia, which it's that beautiful olive green. And see what that looks like. I was super excited about this shade in the palette. I love greens. And if you're a neutral lover, I'm telling you, you probably love greens too and purple. So this palette is just, it's perfect. Ooh, that's a nice green. I'm really impressed how all these shades are blending out really easy. I can definitely see this being someone's staple palette, just like their everyday basic palette in their collection. And the shimmers, they have lots of sparkle to them, like the way the light's reflecting. So I'm excited to see what the shimmers look like. Whenever I was getting my hair done today, like, y'all, it's like I'm social, but also I like to be alone. And it's just like, I feel like my social radar, it's just like, it's done for. I talked, I did my time out and about today. Now I'm like, I'm just so tired. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody else but my family. Okay, now let's see. I want to go with the shade Amora, which is the more olive green shimmer in the palette. And I'm going to do these on my lower lash line because I have to try out the duochrome in this palette because I think that's what really separates this from his previous Nude Prism palette and the Nearly Natural from Glaminatrix. Okay, it's like a Dirty Money color. Like a Dirty Money goldy green. And that's beautiful. Really, really pretty. Oh, the shade Virgo, it looks so yummy. It's like a really deep shimmer. I'm going to just kind of tap that in. This might be a mistake, but I just want to tap it. Tap it where the shimmer and the matte meet and just kind of blend those out. Okay, so for the inner corner, I want to go in with the shade Girlies. It looks like a beautiful champagne, and just see what that looks like. See how deep it pulls. Okay, this looks like it will pull pretty bright. Alright. It's almost too deep for me to use as an inner corner for my skin complexion, but it's still really nice for the inner corner. Now I want to go with the shade Aries, which it's the beautiful duochrome. I'm assuming in the palette, like the blue purple shifty shade. I feel like everyone thinks of that shade when they think of Manny, so it had to be in this palette. I can definitely see, like, seriously, this first half is Laura, that is Manny, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a perfect blend. I think they did an amazing job with this collection. I didn't get the lippies because I feel like they were too similar and too light for me, so I skipped on them. This shade's really pretty. I wish that they would have done like a gloss because I feel like Laura's brand's really known for glosses. I don't know, that would have been cute. Instead of two lippies, maybe like one lippy and one gloss. I don't know, I think that would have been nice. Okay, this shade's really nice. Nothing to like, if you're familiar with indie brands, which Laura and Manny, they are indie brands, but you know what I mean, like Adept, Bella Beauty Bar, stuff like that. These shimmers aren't going to like knock your socks off, but they're fine. Very pretty and flattering for every day. So this isn't like a super intense duochrome, but it's still a nice touch to this palette. So the eye look is done. I'll be right back to show you the finished look. I'm going to do some liner and I'll be back. Okay, so this is the finished look. All I did was add some white in the waterline, and I went into this beautiful purple, the shade called Lanny, and I used that for liner, and I accidentally dropped my brush on my face. So if you see any darkness, it's not from the shadow like falling, it's from me literally dropping the brush. I just wanted to clarify that. But I really do like the look. I love how it turned out. So I'm going to zoom you out and give you my thoughts on this palette and the face palette. Okay, so let's first start off with the face palette, Full Fantasy Blush. I think it is so beautiful. I love how they included the two highlighters in here. I love all 4 shades of blush and bronzer depending on your skin tone. I think the formula is amazing. It's not too pigmented. You don't get any powder kick up. This shade is pigmented, I will say, but these shades, you know, they were nice and easy. I didn't get so much up front. So I don't know. I think that this is a lovely palette, and it does remind me a lot of his blush palette formula. I will say that they are the same, almost the same size. The new one's just a hair bigger and a hair thicker. Also, I noticed that the magnetic closure on this is so good. Like, it's strong. It's a lot stronger than the eyeshadow palette. So I did want to note that. So heck yes to the face palette. I think it's a very beautiful. I love how versatile it is. I think it's going to be a staple in my collection. I'm so happy that I picked that up. Now let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. Full Fantasy. Is this the color palette? Okay, I think that the palette is beautiful, basic and lovely. Basic but elevated with those beautiful shimmers because they have sparkles in there. And the texture, it's just like his Nude Prism palette, if you're familiar with it. It's the same formulation as far as like the shimmers go. They're very soft. There are a few different textures in here that are very lovely, like they're a traditional metallic, but you do have those softer shimmers in here as well. I think that the matte formula is really nice. I have no complaints. A very easy, beginner friendly formula. I didn't have any trouble with it, and the deep shades look lovely as well. So I really like how it's super light, super deep. I like how you can get like some cool tones with some warm tones. I like the golds, champagnes. I think the purples with the greens. I think this is a very versatile palette. You can even pull in some more soft pinks in here. So yeah, A+ for the palette. I think it's absolutely lovely. But I will say, if you're curious, I think that if you're a neutral girly, you can definitely justify the difference between these two palettes. I swear it's like a color lover can justify having 10 rainbow palettes, and us neutral lovers can justify having 10 neutral palettes. Kind of like nude lipsticks. They're all different. Like, I know someone would say they're identical, but they're not. They're different. These do have similarities, but I feel like this duochrome and the green really separates this palette. So do with that what you will. I'm glad that I have it, but if I was not a fan of like full coverage, a fan of Laura and Manny, I wouldn't have bought this, but I am glad that I do have it, and I wish the magnetic closure was just a little bit stronger, but I don't know, this is super nice. I do love them both. I will say, if you were just interested based off the color story and you have the Nearly Natural palette from Glaminatrix, I don't feel like you need this new one, the Full Fantasy palette, because these are very similar. Honestly, in my opinion, the only thing that differentiates these palettes, it's that little soft duochrome with, let me hold up both of them. That's the only difference, in my opinion. It's this shade right here. So, if you have Nearly Natural, I say you can skip this one because, guys, they are basically the same, in my opinion. It's like neutrals with a pop of olive. So, anyways, I just wanted to point out those differences. But as far as the formula goes for both of these products, they're really nice. And for me, the star of the show, it's the face palette. I love these blushes and the highlighters. They're really nice. So let me know down below if you have any questions. I can respond to you. Let me know also, are you a fan of full coverage as well? I love it. It's like my Friday thing. Typically, we order pizza. I sit down. I have me time. I watch the podcast, and I eat me some food. But that is going to do it for today's video. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.